Mining Your Business podcast is back with yet another episode about product mining, data science, and advanced analytics. Yes, you heard that right, product mining. Jakob, what do you know about product mining?
Well, Patrick, I'll be honest, not much.
Yeah, same here. I'm in the same boat. But thankfully, we have Maximilian Kissel, co-founder and managing director at Soley, here to tell us all about what product mining is, what challenges in the manufacturing industry it can tackle, and what in the world a bill of materials is. Let's get into it.
We are here with yet another episode of Mining Your Business podcast, and we are super happy that you are tuning in and listening to our talk with yet another guest in Maximilian Kissel. Max, welcome to Mining Your Business podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me in the show. Hi.
Max, you actually studied complexity management at TUM, which is university in Munich. In process mining, we like to reduce the complexity. Did you? What was the studies actually about? Did you also try to do the same thing?
Yeah, I mean, actually, so my background is I studied mechanical engineering, did my PhD at TUM Munich, and that's where I was really in the topic of complexity management. So this was kind of my nerd topic, and but also a big passion of mine for the last 15 years. And there was also always my motivation to provide intuitive guidance for people in the industry to navigate and decide in complex industry situations. And also, of course, I mean, it's also the aim of Soley and also the aim of product mining to reduce complexity. So this is, I would think, something that we have in common here.
Yeah. Can you, real quick, just kind of elaborate what complexity management actually means? Like, how am I supposed to imagine what complexity management entails and what it doesn't include and include?
Oh, yeah. Good question of a definition. So to make it maybe simple, I would say in complexity management, you cope with huge systems with a lot of let's say many different kind of elements and dependencies and connections, and they change over time, and maybe sometimes you cannot foresee or anticipate how it changed, and that makes the system complex. And I would say this fits very well with what we have in industry as an industrial company. So you have also a lot of, let's say, business objects, if you take it quite abstract, and they are dependent on each other, and they change over time. And as a business leader, you have to take your decisions on that, and you have to get a big transparency about what is happening, what could happen, what is the impact, and so on. That's, I would say, how complexity management gets applied in business. I mean, there are many other applications, but I'll skip that for now.
That sounds very much like when we are doing process mining, where we have very complex systems and we are trying to reduce the complexity by looking into them. However, we actually won't be talking about process mining today, but rather about product mining. And before we get into that, Max, I would actually be interested, how did you even came up to doing and working in this field? And when we were actually preparing for this interview and we had this short talk at the beginning, you said that there was a very interesting story when you actually met with the co-founder of the company that you started, right? Please feel free to share.
Yeah, true. So, as said, I did my PhD at TUM Munich, and I was in this doing my research in the field of complexity management in manufacturing industries. And I was working with a lot of bill of materials, had to compare them, find similarities, try to come up with some, let's say, KPIs for engineers, how to work with that. And the only tool I had that time was actually Excel and some other tools. And it was really, really hard to work with them and really to come up with results. And I was searching, let's say, the whole globe and all scientific conferences and so on, search the web for better tools. That was all back in 2000, let's 2011, 2012, something like this. And I was searching for a tool. And then I found it right next door to my office. There was Bergen Helms, my co-founder. The other co-founders are Alex and Peter. But he said, yeah, I have a cool tool. I can model a lot of complex dependencies, and I can do a lot of automatic expert knowledge automation and apply it to that. But he was really searching for a real world problem. And that's how we got together. He had a tool and no problem, and I had tons of problems and no tool. And we talked. And out of that, Soley was created together with our two other co-founders. And then we founded in 2015. We founded the company and started with several try to find use cases in the industry. And as engineers, we were of course quite driven by the development of products, how products are created. They consist of many parts and things. And this was the field where we applied this technology, and it came out that this is quite nice to cope with complexity here. And today Soley has 40 international people in the team. We are located in Germany and in the Ukraine. We have a quite big part of the team there as well. And we serve our customers in the manufacturing industry today. So from smaller companies around 100 million of euros of revenue up to larger companies with several billion in the revenues in Germany, in Europe, and we also have first customers in the US. And what we ship today is a SaaS product, a product mining platform that helps the customers to really fundamentally transform their business towards more performance, and by eliminating the bad complexity in the product portfolio and the value chain, and keeping the good complexity to perform the business better. Because there's also always complexity has two sides. It has the bad complexity and the good complexity, and the good complexity you need to be successful in your competition, market you're in.
So I'm imagining that Soley, like you said, is all about complexity management, displaying complex relationships within the manufacturing process. So going a little bit further away from the abstract, I mean, in process mining, we do a lot of purchase to pay, right? That's like the basic standard process for pretty much all businesses. Can you tell us what Soley's standard implementation is, or what the most common use case for Soley is?
Yeah, so I mean, I know that in process mining you work on the variances of processes, how to work, for example, as you said, procurement to pay, order to pay, and so on. All these processes that are covered there, and you want to mitigate the number of process variance, or where process goes into, let's say, into timely and inefficient ways, and you want to eliminate that. And I think this is quite comparable, but product mining is more working on business objects. So it's not of how the business runs, but more rather what do we do in the business? So what do we put through all these processes? And that's why, I mean, the biggest focus here is check out the products a company has. So this, if they decide which products make most of sense, you can then also have better processes at the end. I mean, if you do the wrong products through very lean and optimized processes, you're still doing the wrong products, and you still waste resources. So you ask for the typical use cases there, and what we created as a methodology around product mining is we had this 5-step approach of see, cut, shape, scale, and shield. So you always start with see and cut. And see means you get an overview of your product portfolio, what's the actual status, how do things perform, and so on. And then you can take the first decision, is something bad in my product portfolio? And then you cut. So this is the phase-out process. You can decide, okay, my product portfolio, this and those products are not valid for the market anymore, so let's phase them out. And this is the first really complex decision to do. Of course, there are these typical consultancy companies who do this long tail cut projects. But these are getting quite complex because you have to keep in mind a lot of dependencies that you have to check first. Otherwise, you're cut into your flesh and you cannot sell anymore to maybe core customers and so on. The next step for us then is so if you have a cleaned up portfolio and you have only core products, only relevant side products in your product portfolio, then you can think about, okay, how can we further optimize and structure the portfolio in a way that we can smoothly produce it, that we can harmonize with the production strategy we have, for example, from engineer to order to make to stock, and something in between. You will choose wisely how you can reduce the delivery times and reduce the stocks on the other hand. So this is what you do in Shape. And then after that, you have a brilliant, nice product portfolio, which is shaped and structured optimally. You can then go into scale. And scale means, do we have strange pricings? Do we have strange discounts? Or are there typical shopping baskets of customer that they buy typical collection of products together? So can we support sales here with indicators of what other products to sell to a customer? Things like that. So really scale the business, increase the revenues, and that's what you do in scale. And last but not least, there's Shield. And Shield is the step where when everything works quite smoothly, there's still risk that things change over time and might have an impact on your product portfolio. And here you can really search for bottlenecks in your product portfolio, in your value chain. Just to give an example, a typical pattern that we are searching for is this mono-supplied parts that go into products which end up in the big share of revenue of the company. So it's quite common that there are small material numbers which are maybe not very pricey, not very important, and then you check out, okay, in which bill of materials do they go into, which products are created with that, and which core customers buy these products. And then you can sum it up, and you end up in a decent amount share of your total revenue. And then you can say, okay, this is a big revenue at risk, and we should do something to mitigate this this problem.
I think there is a lot of ideas to unpack and to really go deeper into. But what I wanted to also say, so you already know we are a process mining podcast, and just listening to you, I almost feel like this product mining is filling the gap between when we look at the process at like two activities. When we basically, let's say we're looking at order to cash, a customer buys something from us, and we know when the customer orders something, and we then know when we have a finished product and we ship it to them. What we don't know is actually what happens in between, unless we do some kind of a task mining, unless we do collect some other information from other unstructured data. And it almost feels like product mining could basically fill in this gap and at least uncover or get deeper into the root causes that might be behind business implications, such as late deliveries or something.
Yeah.
Would you agree on that?
Yeah, I mean, if you take this order to cash process, I mean, this can be done very smoothly. You can eliminate process variants that cause time delays and so on. Everything that's totally fine and totally complementary with what we do, because what product mining supports the customer with is that they can take a decision on which products do we offer to the market, and which are maybe preferred variants, which are special variants, and which are standards. Yeah, and then they can combine it and say, we have a promise of delivery. So can we ship it from stock? Can we ship it within 4 days, within 4 weeks, within 4 months? I mean, this should also be decided at some point on, and maybe there's also some. I mean, in the last few months and years, we saw a lot of supply chain interruptions, so things change. Also with the big and reliable suppliers, things change there, and they have an impact on my product portfolio and on my offering. And you should be like online and aware of the problems that arise from there, and then change your offering and what can be ordered. And then, I mean, this will have a positive impact on the whole order to cash process afterwards. If you first decide, okay, what to offer to the market and what should maybe be put on pause, or I don't know, right?
What I also wanted to ask is, so we have this product mining. You are looking into data. You already mentioned bill of material. Probably first question would be, what even is a bill of material? So for listeners who never heard of it, I think they might be up for a surprise. And then you have these recursions. You have these data that are linking to one another. How does product mining actually go into picture and plays a role in solving this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So first of all, maybe take the first question. What is a bill of material here? And so let's say the bill of material describes a list of material numbers. Let's say, keep it easy. A list of material numbers, and there is like a parent node and some child nodes. And the child nodes, so for example, let's say an electrical pump has some turning wheels, some shafts, some screws, some housings, and so on. So, and all these items are listed in the bill of material, and they should end up at the end in this electrical pump. And there are different ways and applications of a bill of material. For example, there's an engineering BOM bill of material, and manufacturing bill of material. There are several assembly things that can be used, and so on. So we are using here most of the time the manufacturing bill of material. So how are things then combined to a physical product? And there's some additional layers of complexity if you consider some configuration logic that is maybe in the process. That, for example, if you buy a car, you can configure that online, and there are some rules described in the KMAT, so configured material, and so there are some rules how to configure that, and that you have at the end the idea of your final physical product, and you can order it. And in the best case, the producer can even produce it and can ship it. And sometimes they call you and say, we cannot do this and that because we don't get the parts. Maybe. But this is, first of all, this bill of material. And this is, let's say, the focal point in the network we are creating with this product mining platform. So what we do is we create an enterprise digital twin. So this is represented with graph technology. So we get the data from different sources in the company, mainly from ERP systems, for example, SAP. We're an SAP partner here. And get bill of material information. We get some transactional data. We get orders from customer, supply, purchase orders to suppliers, and so on. We collect all this data and create a big graph of nodes and edges. So we really focus on the dependencies here. And based on this graph, we then, in the next steps, we enrich the graph with automatically created segmentations, categorizations, KPIs that we can calculate, and so on. And this is the graph generation process. And this gets done every time we get new data into the system. And of course, then you have like all your products segmented in core, side, and ballast products, for example. Or you have low, medium, and high risk products that are maybe affected by some changes. Things like that. So this gets all pre-calculated. And based on that, we can then apply our value pattern technology. So this value patterns, it means it finds the needle in the haystack. So what kinds of business patterns are critical to the business and should be tackled? Should we prioritize and set as prioritized tasks for the users then? So this is what the system does and helps the user with, to prioritize patterns that then have an impact on the business. And if you tackle them, you can then reduce costs, reduce delivery times, and so on. So this is the way it goes. And then if these value patterns found several of these critical things to tackle, the next step is then to go into the decision making. So what action should we apply to this element, and so on? And there we have an orchestrated, organized decision-making process in the tool. So you don't have to just stay there with your insights and then, okay, we have a problem, but what to do next? The whole system orchestrates then a decision-making process and operationalizes the results you got, and you can then take the next steps.
So one of the typical things that we get asked is when we look at, for example, material shortages, like when you have a specific amount of a screw or something in stock, and you realize, okay, on average you're using, I don't know, X amount per month, and you're starting to get low, and there's no replenishment in sight. You can display that, but then the obvious follow-up would be, okay, which one of my finished materials or end products is affected by the shortage, right? I'm assuming that through this graph technology that you mentioned, you can figure this out. Would that be one of those risk flags that you can display with this technology, or am I close or far from it?
You're pretty close. I mean, you have this full network from the supplier who maybe is short in quantities or cannot deliver in time, and then you have like the whole chain through the graph to which shopping basket of which critical or non-critical customer, what is affected by that. So what's the impact? You can directly get that from the system, and then from there you can also check how high is the risk of losing business here, or should we maybe first serve a full shopping basket of a core customer, or of a maybe strategic customer, and should we inform the others that we have to deliver later, or maybe there's no promise for a certain delivery, and so on. So where can I maybe also reduce the penalties that maybe are within contract, things like that. So we can check this out and then take decisions here.
So a fairly provocative question from my part. If this is somehow extractable into Excel, can I not just look at these complexities of these levels in Excel or some other BI tool? Like, why would I need Soley to show me this in this graph form?
Yeah, I mean, it really depends how much time do you have. Yeah, right. So let's say if you check it out in Excel, I mean, we also do have customers who that was the way they did it before. They have like they worked with SAP, they had some data dumps, they worked with Excel and so on. And what they reported is that before they worked with Soley in product mining, they had like it took them like about 4 weeks to come up with all the dependencies, to check out what's the impact and so on. And this time got reduced by factor 10,000 to 4 minutes around. That's what they said. That they beforehand they had like 4 weeks, and now they have the answer in 4 minutes. And I mean, this gives them heads up and a competitive advantage, let's say, to act faster than others, and also to come up with a faster solution for the customer than maybe if a customer is directly affected by that. And I think this is an advantage that you can easily work with the platform and get transparency and see the impact and so on, have this connection.
Yeah. Definitely don't take it the bad way. We just spent 2 weeks ago, we spent almost an hour, me and Patrick, discussing on our podcast what is the difference between BI tool and process mining tool. And I was making an argument that our biggest competitor will forever be Excel, and seeing sometimes people making a fallback to Excel hurts my eyes, but it is what it is. We are all facing the same competition. And you actually mentioned the users and the interaction. So How does this actually look like from an analyst perspective? When I, in process mining, we have this happy path. We see these processes and increase the complexity with like click of the button. What would be the first thing I saw if I opened your tool, and how would it look like? And I know that picture probably would make more explanatory than talking about it. But what can a listener who's just driving his car or her car imagine if they went into your tool right now?
Yeah. So when the typical user opens Soley, they see an overview that should, hopefully, if we did a good job, that should indicate where are your most urgent and most obvious problems in your product portfolio, and where do you have huge potential for cost reduction, risk reduction, and so on. So what should you tackle first? So this is like the recommendation page. Just imagine a collection of KPIs, maybe what is the progress in certain fields on what we wanted to target. What is maybe a heat map that shows, for example, the core site ballast products over the margins. And so you can tackle them maybe you start with the first collection of products where you have core products with bad or low margins, and you should really work on that to improve the cost structure there. Or you have some ballast products which have a negative margin that it's pretty clear to eliminate them directly and no hesitation. So this is the starting point. You get like the results of the value patterns that we found, and we display it in a way that you can then choose, okay, with which thing do I want to start today in order to fulfill my goals, to work on a strategy we have today in the business. And for example, some of them want to grow, some of them want to be more resilient, more innovative, more profitable. Profitability should be higher, or things like that.
Yeah. I did hear a story from one of our customers where we found out that they were actually producing for higher cost than they were actually selling the end product, just because that they had such a mess in this inventory that they didn't know how much these material costed them, and therefore then they just produced an end product that was more expensive than the end product was the product was just more expensive than what they charged their customers for. And I guess with product mining, you could probably also find this inefficiency. And you also mentioned that there are some core KPIs. What other KPIs could you think of that there would be, and what do you base them on, especially looking just on the materials? So do you look at how often these are produced, what are their prices, and so on?
Yeah, I mean, in the material, looking at the materials, first of all, it's interesting what kind of use case are you working on. For example, if you want to phase out products, it's really interesting to check if the materials used in a product, are they used somewhere else? So in other products. So typically there's this reuse factor, which is an important KPI to think about. Okay, these material numbers, are they exclusively in this product? So if I phase out the product, I will also phase out these exclusive materials. And this will have a direct impact on the value chain, because you don't have to put them on stock anymore and so on. And but if they are still reused in other products, you will not have such a big effect. Maybe you will even have negative effects, because there are suppliers who ship this component, and if the quantities go below some threshold, maybe other prices then apply, things like that. Yeah, I mean, these are these side effects that were often not quite transparent and visible, but now you have at least a platform to check out if there are side effects, if this decision will have some negative impacts on other ends of your whole company. So so the KPI here, for example, is the reuse of a component is interesting, but also then some ratios of how many core side or ballast customers, let's say, are really buying a product here, doing the revenue. So is the revenue based on products that you maybe sold once? You had to, let's say, refit the whole production line just because of this one product, which yielded to some revenues and maybe some margin, but the cost for all this was quite big. And you could really think about, is this really necessary, or should I focus more on my core business, on my core and my A, B, and C customers, but maybe not so much on the D and F customers, because the transactional costs there are higher than what I gain, right? And then to make this clear and then take, let's say, educated decisions here to really think, okay, do I really serve the whole market, or should I serve a focused market and be more profitable there?
So can I ask, when we do process mining, there's a point where we say this company or this enterprise is ready for process mining, or this is a perfect example of when process mining is efficient and will get value. There are some instances where they're not mature enough, either through data quality or things like that, where this isn't applicable yet. Can you tell me some of the requirements that you would think that a company should have for product mining to be starting to become effective, and where it's most effective?
Yeah, always a very good question. And I would say, if they're using an ERP system to support their processes and their production processes and shipping processes in the company, they can also use product mining then. Then they have the most critical data available. And it's not so super critical if all your master data is maintained and updated fully and completely, or if there are maybe some misspelling or something else in your system. That's not so super critical and important. But if you do your whole purchase orders and selling process and so on via the ERP system, you have a quite good basis to start. I would also say, but this is more in terms of price and cost for the platform, because it doesn't come for free. Let's say it like this. And then of course we have some minimal amount of revenues companies typically should have in order to be able to set up an IT project like this. I mean, if you have an IT budget of a few €1,000 a year, you shouldn't. Then it's also not necessary. Also, the findings and the ROI is then not that attractive. And but if you up to 100 million euros or higher, also some around 50 million euros could work with. But then we can show our quite nice ROI, return on investment, and it makes most of sense to introduce something else.
I'm assuming because of it has a lot of cases or quote unquote objects that we can derive or save value in, and thereby justifying the cost of the IT setup, software, and all these things.
Yeah.
Right. Is there some sort of key indicator for you where a potential customer or something mentions a problem and you think that is exactly what this is for? Like, is there some sort of, when they list a bunch of problems, do you know exactly, like, product mining will be perfect for this specific one?
So I would say there are several sentences that indicate, okay, we should talk. But one of them is, of course, like the number of stock keeping units. So the number of SKUs is growing every year by 10,000, and we have like 150, 160,000 SKUs and things like that. So if a company reports something like this, they have exploding complexity. They have a huge increase of variance and so on, and they are not able anymore to, maybe some of them might be, but I would say if they are not able anymore to control this complexity and manage it, to keep the good complexity and get rid of the bad complexity, then I think we should talk.
Here actually a question. What do you mean by good and bad complexity?
Yeah, I mean, the good complexity is something that where you can differentiate from competitors in the market. So if you have maybe this smartphone and it only has one chip for performance, or this display and so on, you have only this one, then maybe you have too few complexity, too few variants offered in the market. But if you have a product, for example, you sell a pump or an electrical engine, and you have like more variants than stars in the Milky Way, then maybe you have too many, and something in between should be feasible and good. And if it takes if it costs more to have all these variants, and also the cost of choice gets too big because the customer cannot decide anymore what product makes most of sense, because there's so many options and I want to have the right one, then maybe it's getting too complex. But there's no no defined line, I would say. Maybe some companies can come up with a definition here. But
Now, one of the most pressured thing currently in the world of process mining, where is everybody is pushing in this direction, is value creation. It's one thing to see the problems. It's one thing to have this insights into your process, see what's going wrong, even do the root cause analysis and put a number on the problem. And it's a whole another thing to actually say, okay, let's fix it, and this is how much we saved by fixing it. When I was, looking through your website, you also had these slides and materials where you were saying, okay, this is how much we save. So maybe two questions here. How do you calculate the saving? And the second, how do you also motivate the users, the company that you work with, to actually do something about it? And how does the action even look like?
Yeah. So, I mean, we also put the value for the customer in the center of our projects with the customer when we're ramping up and introducing product mining as a platform. The savings, I mean, there are many things that you can then save or speed up or set free, let's say. So I would say we first start always with, can I reduce the number of materials? Because if you have a lot of legacy products and material numbers, there are many people occupied with these legacy products to maintain them, to keep them on the market and so on. And if you can reduce that, you can reduce a lot of effort here. So this is one thing, to reduce effort, for example, in R&D or in the sales department and so on. Also, the cost of training and sales. If you have a very complex product portfolio, it really is hard to get really efficient salespeople. And if you can reduce the product portfolio, can more efficiently train salespeople, can even give them recommendations, then you can increase the revenues. That's another thing. But what our customers always report is that based on the results of the product mining methodology applied, they can reduce the inventories, the cost of inventories. They have the right things on stock. They have better delivery performance after that. And they have faster reaction times, which also ended up sometimes in some, let's say, avoided costs. But then there's also this connection to the value chain. And if you, for example, can set free some resources in production because you can remove some products that were still occupying one of these production lines, and you can set this free, or you can create some space and so on. So it's entrepreneurial freedom to take new decisions on the options you create. And I think this is what the platform can bring in. And of course, direct cost reductions of less material numbers and so on that can be reduced.
What are some of the, let's say, problems when you are what you are facing when you're trying to convince the customer that it actually makes sense for them to go with your solution? Because again, when we are doing these process mining projects, what we do is we do some kind of a proof of value or proof of concept when we just show some numbers. And there usually, that's what we already mentioned at the beginning, we have some of these core processes that we are focusing on, be it purchasing, be it sales, and so on. Now, looking from a product mining perspective, would there be also one, maybe two use cases that you usually like to start with, and what would those be?
Yeah, I mean, I just introduce this model of C-cut, shape, scale, and shield, and it makes most of sense to first clean up before you move somewhere. I mean, this is also if you move your flat, you should first clean up. Otherwise, you need 2 trucks to transfer all the things. So for a good business transformation, it makes sense to clean up first. And this is also the first use case. I would say makes most of sense. I mean, sometimes there are special customer situations where it makes sense to do other things as well in the beginning, but to start with a solid phase out process makes most of sense. And then you should not stop after one iteration. You should take this as an ongoing project in the company to keep the portfolio clean, because it really has good impact on your cost structures and so on, and on your business performance and delivery times and everything. So it makes most of sense to keep this running. But then, of course, as said, then other things like in shape, you think about the structuring of the product portfolio and your production strategies. So to harmonize that. In scale, you look at prices, cool shopping basket, gives recommendations to sales, and in shield, you try to mitigate the revenue at risk. This is, of course, also a nice impact that you maybe want.
And another question, and that actually comes from your own experience and from applying that technology at your customers. Was there ever something that, first of all, like surprised you when looking into the data that, in terms of, oh my God, we really made a huge difference, a huge splash, and you don't really have to name anyone, but some interesting findings that you generated through product mining? Because we always love these examples.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing is that this Pareto principle more often applies. So you have like 20% of the products make 80% of the revenue margin and so on. So, and there are some who have more than 10%, which yields to 90% or something else. But I mean, this is the first thing that was at the beginning for me quite surprising, that this Pareto principle really applies. and the other thing which that was maybe surprising for our customers, that they had a complete new view on their materials and so on. So they when they had first had a look at in the results of Soley, they saw, okay, all these data sets don't make sense at all. It's not your fault, but maybe it's the raw data we provided you. And they found then this huge list of materials numbers that were already more than that and not eliminated from the system and so on. So they found a bycatch. Yeah, it's like you have like a data quality project on the side, but you didn't meant to have it. And this was sometimes a little bit funnier.
Can I ask, so what is in future for Soley? Like, what are your goals of trying to implement, or where do you see Soley going in the near future?
Yeah, I mean, this technology we created is also good not only for products, but also for looking at customers, at suppliers, at operations, business objects, and so on. So it's a platform that can help to take good decisions around business objects. And I think we can extend from the methodology side in this direction. For us, this year is also quite, let's say, focused on value delivery. So we really try to create additional patterns that yield to additional value that can help our customers to increase the value of the platform itself, and also bring in people who help the customer to really get the value out of the platform and so on. So this is the big mission for this year.
Okay, so it's expanding on the existing platforms and existing implementations you already have and delving deeper and deeper, generating more value for the customers, but also then expanding into parts of businesses that you haven't yet touched.
Yeah, true. Right? Yeah. And then, of course, I mean, this technology can also be applied in other verticals, but I mean, step by step, I mean, we also see some potential here in the retail industry or in the chemistry industry and so on. So we see some additional verticals coming up, but step by step.
Yeah. And what about long-term vision? Well, what do you see in future there?
I mean, you don't
have to say anything. You don't have to use spoilers.
We made some fun about this BHAG, this big hairy audacious goal. And when a manager gets arrested because he didn't use Soley in 10 years from now, and so this is like, so you should have used the platform. You took a very bad decision and you didn't use the system. But of course, this is more kind of a joke, and but should illustrate. Of course, we want to get into the decision-making processes in industry. We want to become a standard there, that you take better decision if you have all this complexity handled and managed there.
Max, where would people go if they wanted to know more about product mining, about your company or about yourself?
Of course, visit our website. It's www.soley.io. You can, of course, also directly contact me. You can contact me via LinkedIn and send me a message there. And I'm more than happy to find new sparring partners, new contacts. Also, of course, customers, very welcome. Who's interested and maybe has some challenges they want to discuss. I'm very open to do that as well. And yeah.
I have to say, I would definitely use product mining, because one of my biggest nightmares in my 5 years of experience of working on process mining was actually working on use cases from exactly bill of materials, where I had to do these joins over and over again when I was looking on a material and had to find this node, go to a level lower, and then actually find the correct part where it actually should have gone, right? So that's still
let the graph work for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a fun time. You could write Jakub BOM and he would start to cry.
These SDKOs and SDPOs, it's just brings bad memories.
That's why we automated it, because we couldn't see that anymore.
Yeah, makes total sense.
I remember then you just get into the phase where you just point it to the same node over and over again, and you never know when to stop, right? Just, a screw goes into screw and it goes into screw.
Yeah, that's,
but,
of course.
Max, thank you very, very much for coming to our show and introducing product mining and also Soley as your company. I hope that everybody actually enjoyed it, because to me, it opens up even more questions and even more new realms that I've never even knew before about. And it's exciting to see how slightly different technologies can actually complement in one another in this whole end-to-end holistic view on your process. So, Max, once again, thank you very much, and good luck with building the platform and the company.
That was big fun talking to you. Thanks for the invitation, and thanks. You too, also with your show.
So to you, dear listeners, we thank you for listening and tuning in on our episode. As usual, you can reach out to us on LinkedIn. We are very active there, either directly through our page, Mining Your Business, or just reach out to me or Patrick directly. We also have an email, miningyourbusinesspodcast@gmail.com. So drop us an email. That's it for today, and we're looking forward to talking to you in 2 weeks' time with the next episode of Mining Your Business podcast. Thank you very much. Thank you, Max. Thank you, Patrick.